and welcome back. Today I'm really excited to share with you a new block that we have just launched here at Kadence, and that's the scrolling marquee block. So in the past, if you've ever had to wrangle with CSS or bulky plugins, you're really going to love this new block. So the scrolling marquee block enables you to add in smooth, eye-catching motion to your website without any code. Now, to use this block, you will need Creative Kit, and Creative Kit is part of either our Express plan or you will need one of our higher plans, or if you do have Blocks Pro, it is now included in your Blocks Pro plan. And if you're not familiar with Creative Kit is a collection of advanced design tools to help you create more effective websites. And what it includes is premium pre-designed templates, premium sections and page layouts, advanced AI tools, premium support, and dynamic visual effects like Animate on Scroll and our new scrolling marquee block. So the scrolling marquee block is a really great way to highlight announcements, to showcase logos, and also just to create visual interest on your website. So in this tutorial, I'm going to explain to you how to use our new marquee block, and we're going to be creating some visual effects like I have here. So we're going to be creating this two marquee blocks side by side in vertical orientation, scrolling in different directions. Then we're going to be doing kind of the same vertical orientation with text. And then lastly, we are going to be doing two very simple ones where we use emojis and we use text and an icon. So let's go to the back end of my website and I'll show you how to use our new marquee block. Okay, so here we are on a page on my website, and I am using one of our latest one-page pre-designed templates for this tutorial video. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to do one of the more simpler ones. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom, and the first simple one we're going to do is we are going to use the text block and we're going to use the icon block. So to note, with this new marquee block, you can only use the text block, the image block, and the icon block to create your marquees. We are in time going to be adding more blocks to the marquee scrolling block. So we're going to start off coming here and we're going to click enter, and then we are going to add in the marquee block, and we can do that either by coming here and clicking the plus icon. We can click the block inserter at the top here, or alternatively we can just put / and type in marquee, and then we can click on the marquee block. That then adds it in. Now, before we create the marquee block, let's look at the parent marquee and exactly what settings we have available to us. So we have firstly the orientation and the direction. So we're going horizontal or vertical or left and right in terms of direction. And then we can set the height of our marquee and how many items we want in it. So your marquee block will be made out of marquee items, and within those marquee items, you have either a text block, an icon block, or an image block. Each item will have a different block. You then have scroll speed options and also accessibility things like pause on hover and showing a pause button. Your next tab, you can then style it by adding in faded edges, a background color, and also amending your pause button. And then lastly, you do have your padding and your margins, and then Z index options. Okay, so let's go to our first marquee item, and what we're going to do is add in a text block. So we're going to click add block, and as you can see, these are the only blocks available to you. So I'm going to click on text and I'm going to type in freshly baked bread daily. Then I'm going to add in another marquee item because now I want to add in an icon. So I'm going to go back to my parent marquee, and there are two ways of adding another item. You can either come to the general tab here on the left-hand side and click the up arrow to add in another item, or you can just click the plus here and then that will add in another marquee item. So I'm going to click plus again and I'm going to add in an icon. And then I'm going to come to the right-hand side, and I have actually uploaded an icon. So I'm going to click on my little bread icon, and I'm just going to reduce the size of it. So you can style your blocks like you would normally style a block on a page. You can style your icon and also your text. So I at the moment have freshly baked bread and a single icon. I do want to go back to my parent icon and just add in another one with some text that says yummy delights for you. And then I'm going to add in one more, which is just the bread icon again. there's my bread icon. Okay, so now I've added in my icons and my text. I can go back to my parent, and what we have now is a little preview button. And when I preview it, I can now see my marquee in action. So now I can go ahead, and if I want to make it bigger, I can just make my height bigger. I can also change the direction, and I can also change the orientation. I will show you later on in this video some more vertical ones. Okay, so I can also add in the pause on hover and show pause button and increase or decrease the speed. And just to note, when you do get over 60, it will give you a warning just to say that it can cause accessibility issues. So let's just make this a bit slower and come to our style tab, and let's change the background color to maybe, let's go for this color. This color. Okay, there we go. Pretty happy with that. I am going to reduce the height a bit, and I am going to click save, and let's have a look at this on the front end. Let's scroll down, and it's right down at the bottom, and there is our first scrolling marquee. Okay, so let's go on to another example where we add in emojis. So this one, I'm going to click add after, and for this specific one, I'm going to actually put it in a row because I do want it to be full width. So I'm going to click row, and then I'm going to click full width, and I'm going to style the background color as purple. And then in the advanced tab, I'm just going to reduce the padding around it. And then I'm going to add in a block, and that is the marquee block. And with this one, I can either use the native Gutenberg blocks or I can use the text block. But what I have is just some emojis that I'm just going to copy over. I'm going to simply paste them in here, and I'm going to add in another one. A little baguette. And then the last one I'm going to add in is a croissant. So let's just add that one in. So we go here, plus, and we'll just add that in. Okay, so let's go to our marquee. We preview that. We can see that in action. And we're going to reduce the height to something like maybe 30. And let's click save. And let's have a look at that on the front end of our website. So we'll open that in a new tab. And there we go. We have our little emojis down at the bottom. Okay, so let's now move on to creating a more vertical marquee. So what we have at the moment on this one pager is a testimonial. It's very static. So we're going to add in a marquee here. So I'm going to click on this, and I am going to click add after, and I'm going to type in / and marquee. And then what I can do is I can either choose the text block and start typing in there, or to make life easy, I'm just going to drag this and I'm going to drop that in there. And then I'm going to come to the 3 dots and I'm going to duplicate my marquee item. And in this one, I am going to just change the text. So this is some new text for a testimonial. Okay, so now I have some more text. I can obviously add to that as well. And I'm going to go to my parent marquee. I can view that, and you can see now it's still going horizontally. So in the orientation, I'm going to change that to vertical. I'm going to also increase the container height. So I'm just going to make it probably about that high. So 276. I'm going to keep the speed. I might choose a pause on hover and a show pause button. Then in my style tab, I'm going to remove the faded edges just because I find it quite difficult to read when you have those faded edges. And then I'm also going to go to my pause button, and I'm going to change the button background to this color and the icon to the green. So there we go. And the item gap, I think, is absolutely perfect at the moment. And then one other thing that I want to show you that you can do is you can come to your single marquee item and you can also change the background color. So if, for example, I wanted to style this one with a yellow background, you can see it there. And then I can come to my advanced tab and I can increase the padding in between it. And that specific marquee item then is yellow, and the next one is a different color. So let's save and view that on the front end. Okay, so there it is. You can also see that our button is quite big and it is covering our testimonial. So let's go back and click on our parent and come to our style tab. and then we can go to our padding, and let's just make it actually quite small and click save. Now your button does take the styling from your customizer, so that's why you need to override it if you want a different background color or icon color or padding. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, so that looks a lot better, and we can see that it's not covering any of the text, and when we click pause, it stops it, and we can click play again. Okay, so now let's look at creating a vertical marquee with images. So we have our one pager that we're using, and at the moment what it has is a hero section, and in that it has 2 sections, and within this it's got a row with 3 columns. So let's reduce that to 2 columns because we only want 2 marquees side by side. Now within this they have 2 sections, and these sections have background images, so I'm just going to quickly remove those. I'm then going to come to my row layout and just remove the minimum height on it. I'm then going to add in marquee blocks to both of my sections. So I'm going to click the plus icon and add in my marquee block, and in the marquee item I'm going to add in the image block. Firstly, the thing I'm going to do is increase the item count. I want to have like 4 or 5 images, so let's increase that to 4. And then I can come to my marquee item and I can click on the plus icon, add in the image block, and then select the image that I want. And I already have some images uploaded, so I'm just going to quickly go ahead and I'm going to add those in. Okay, so now that I've added those in, I'm going to come to my parent block and just have a preview of what it looks like. So by default, the orientation is set to horizontal, so I'm going to change that to vertical, and I'm going to increase the container height to something like 600 pixels. Then I'm going to increase the speed to 35, and I think I'm going to make sure there is a pause on hover. If I want to, I can increase the width of my pictures to ensure that my images are 100% the container, or I can make them smaller, so I can scroll this up and down. Then the next is our style tab. I'm going to remove the faded edges, and I'm not going to increase, I might actually reduce the gap to something like a 10. Okay, so I'm very happy with that. Then I'm going to click on the 3 dots, and I'm just going to duplicate this marquee block, and I'm going to put it into the other section. And then I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to change the direction to the other way. So if we preview this, we've got 1 going up and we have 1 going down. Now let's save this and let's have a look at this on the front end. We may need to style this in terms of removing any kind of spacing. So let's first look at it. We can see that there is spacing at the top and the bottom of my rows, so I can remove that, and there is quite a bit of space in between, and I want to reduce that spacing. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to come here, and just on our main hero section row, we're going to reduce the padding, and then that is going to take that away from the top and the bottoms. Now, one other thing that we did have, and this is all part of the template, is just that we had some padding on our section. So I'm just going to remove that. So let's remove that and do the same for this other section. Let's just remove that, and I'm going to click save, and our marquee should now be looking really good on the front end. So we'll have a look on the front end, and there we have it. We may want to make it a little bit bigger, and we may want to also add in some different images, but that is how you create a vertical marquee of images. Now, I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial guide and you find this new scrolling marquee block really valuable. We love this block, and it's such a fun way to add visual effects to your website. So I hope you enjoy it, and be sure to pop it in the comments below what you think of this new block and how you're going to use this on your website.